Morning Watch with Mr. Stokeley Marshall.
Listeners to Love 101 FM are advised that the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of Love 101 FM.
Hello and welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube live. In the main watch, we have fraud. How do women stack up? Fraud. How do women stack up? And in the second watch, healthy minds and bodies equal well-being and academic achievement. For our social media question, we ask, what are your thoughts on the seeming increase in the number of women being accused of white-collar crimes? Share your responses on our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes too. 876-9973-125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on the program, but first, here's I quote.
Good morning, good morning. So today's I quote is an island quote, and it says, willful. Whoa, the pato on this is so different. All right, so let's break it down because, reading pato is different from saying it. Okay, so it says, willful was a bring woeful want. All right, let me see what it means.
Yes.
Don't willfully waste what you have, or you could end up bitterly regretting what you wasted when you find yourself in need. It's my first time hearing that quote.
Interesting. First
Do you know this one?
myself. It
You know this one?
makes sense. It's the
does.
first time I'm hearing it.
Yeah, it knew. But I mean, it says, don't willfully waste what you have, or you could end up bitterly regretting what you wasted when you find yourself in need.
Well, we need to hold on to that one. It's a very, very wise I quote. I'll even say wise indeed.
Definitely.
The main watch will be back after this break.
Need a holiday? Book your tax holiday by using your Sagicor Bank Business Credit Card to pay your taxes. You'll get a 1-month payment holiday. Conditions apply.
Mormac Auto Parts for all your Honda Ridgeline parts in Kingston. You may contact us at 876-821-5232 or 876-326-7371 or email us at mormacautoparts@gmail.com. Remember, we are your Honda Ridgeline parts dealer located in Kingston. Contact us now for more details at 876-821-5232 or 876-326-7371.
Hey
everybody, I'm Ashley.
I'm Jakal.
I'm Victor.
I'm Chantel.
And we are
The Pulse Podcast.
You can find us every Saturday at 7 p.m. on Love 101 FM JA's YouTube channel.
Yes, 7 to 8 p.m. And ensure you follow us on social media, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram.
At The Pulse Podcast JA.
The Pulse Podcast, your weekly source of authentic, Jamaican, faith-based, creative content and edutainment.
About culture, creative expressions and games. This is the Pulse Podcast.
Do you want to scale your business by optimizing your human resources to maximize productivity and profitability? If so, HR consultants Johnny A. Colley and Associates is the right team for you. With years of HR management experience, we have the expertise and resources to take your business to the next level. Call us today at 876-452-5177. Johnny A. Colley and Associates, providing human resource management solutions for small and medium-sized businesses.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the main watch. Crime now more gender neutral is the assertion made by one of our guests in our first discussion today. This on the heels of what seems to be an increase in white-collar crimes by females. Why might this be happening? Or is it that it was happening all along, but the media is now giving it more attention? Might it be because more women have sensitive positions where they have access to the money being held by their employers, and so some of them are yielding to temptation? Is it that some of them are being wrongly accused? We have as our guests today Michael Diamond, attorney at law, and Dr. Leakim Samaj, founder and chief ideator, Above or Beyond, and transformation psychologist. Good morning, Dr. Samaj. Good morning, Mr. Diamond. Gentlemen, good day.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Good morning to your listeners.
I am great. Dr. Samaj, are we hearing you as yet? Maybe not. Hope to hear him very shortly. Well, starting with you, Mr. Diamond. It appears that there are more reports of women being implicated in alleged financial crimes. Any comments, Mr. Diamond?
Yes, I will definitely go with your second question regarding the fact that there's a possibility that it's being reported a lot more, but not necessarily that there's a significant increase in females committing these type of frauds or white collar crime. The concerns that I do have in regarding to this type of discussion is the fact that we don't want to paint a picture as if this is somewhat gender specific and really get to the point that it really is a situation of opportunity. The females facing the same opportunities as the male will oftentimes, and as we're seeing, be subjected to the same ills or even benefits of that opportunity. So I wouldn't take a position that there's truly an increase, but rather the fact that we are doing more to report these things.
I see. Now, since more women are in supervisory and managerial positions, do you foresee an increase or further increase in women being accused of financial fraud?
Wow. The the fact of the matter is that yes, we can see that there would be an increase for any individuals, whether male or female, to be subjected to that type of exposure. So yes, I definitely would say that there could possibly be an increase, but again, I'm not. It's not really a gender specific kind of thing, but more so of an opportunity. So
Yes.
yes, we're going to see that now. That's just a reality that once an individual is increasing the space, they will be exposed and subjected to those same things.
Dr. Samaj,
Yes, sir.
good morning, first of all, and more reports of women being implicated in alleged financial crimes. Any comments, Dr. Samaj?
Well, it is a developmental, part of it is statistical. If you notice, say over the last 30, 40 years, more women have been accessing the higher levels of education and the higher levels of management and responsibility. And as a result, they have more access to the power sources and to where things can really happen. So that could just be a byproduct, whereas only men had those kind of um, exposure 20, 30, 40 years ago. The data, looking at the data from the United States and globally, a trend has been detected that there is now, whereas much of the white collar crime, as long with most other types of crime, were largely male, white collar crime has taken a jump, trending upwards in terms of women and especially finance. Among the white collar crime, men are still dominating like the stock, the insider trading, and those kinds of activities. But the other things to do with credit card related checking account related, manipulated internal accounts, they find that women are now, outpacing men in that area.
Is it because less women are engaged in things such as trading in terms of the financial markets?
That could easily be, because that is still that part. If when you see the stock market visuals and the traditional trading floor, you see it's still a very male dominated area.
Yeah.
But I remember about 15 or more years ago, one of the first studies I did for the Eagle Financial Network, the first 2 slides I presented stopped the discussion. One, they weren't realized that back then 75% of the staff of the Eagle Financial Network was female. And it just did never occur to them that's what they were dealing with. And then the second slide really blew their mind out, where all the middleman managers were female. You had
interesting.
So that they were the next line, all positioned, all of the middle managers were female. So that has happened. So part of it is statistical. So where we have always attributed more crime to men in terms of especially violent crime, but then now white collar crime, whereby it's a brain, not just brawn you're using to commit the offense.
Yes,
that women are now taking their space.
Well, we don't want either men or women to be taking a space in terms of committing crime. But I know what you mean, Dr. Semaj.
Yeah.
Now, it's clearly you're saying that this is not just a Jamaican thing.
Oh, no. Our problem in Jamaica is that we don't deal with data. We don't share data. I would say, without any contradiction, I would suggest that I've done the most research in the most companies in Jamaica, but I can't share anything because, first of all, I'm a psychologist. My first mantra is confidentiality. For me to go back now to your company and say, listen, may I share this data? May I do a book and include this data and so on? That's a bad taste. I mean, that I collected this data with that in mind. If I was a university faculty doing research or publication and so on, I would have done that up front. Now, I remember a situation where I was doing a lecture at UA Business, and students were asking me about some of the major turnarounds that I was involved with and I said, I can't tell you about it. I can't. But one situation I did, I actually put them in touch with a principal from the organization who agreed to talk. You see, so we don't share. You talk to any business students, they can tell you what Ford did, what Chrysler did, what so and so. But you ask them what Ray Neville did. You ask them what Grace Kennedy did. You ask them what Wisinka did. And nobody will talk about it because we don't share data locally. But we have anecdotal information and we have global trends to guide us.
Yes. And how do you think, or do you have any suggestions? Not that we're going off topic, but since you mentioned the matter of data sharing, and this is an area that we probably need more data in, the incidences of financial crimes across the country. Do you have any suggestions as to how we might begin to start to share more data, or how can it be facilitated?
Well, probably it will be very hard because guess what? The problem is much broader and deeper than we realize. Even from my own personal experience with financial institution, the first order is for them to try and settle it at the lowest level.
Settle the financial crime at the lowest level.
Yes. I mean, I've had incidents where literally with one credit card and $1 million plus was written off of my account because when they looked at the nature of the transaction, they realized that, I could not have made those transactions. And I've had those incidents. I'm sure many of us have had those kind of situations. So because
I have received a phone call where, yes. Sorry, continue. Sorry, go ahead.
So that you don't want to go public with many of those things because it will breed a lack of confidence in your system.
Yes,
so they quietly,
I was just saying that I received a phone call from one of the banks saying that my credit card had been compromised, but no money was used from the credit card, and they replaced the credit card. And of course, I had to get a new password. But hold those thoughts, gentlemen. We are about to take a break. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
The Heart Foundation of Jamaica is asking us, let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools. The time by the Heart Foundation of Jamaica is
7:15 and a half.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
For 50 years, Under the Law has been helping you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. The program is brought to you on Tuesdays by the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Grow Smart, Eat Smart, and on Thursdays by the Office of the Children's Advocate, enforcing and protecting the rights and the best interests of all children in Jamaica. Under the Law at 6:20 a.m., 2:35, 6:45, and 9:10 p.m. on Love 101 FM.
Protect yourself. Read your financial contracts before you sign. Remember, you are best suited to protect your interests. You must read the contract. And if you have any questions about any financial service, ask your financial institution's representative before you take on the service. Always ask about the fees and the interest payable on any financial product. Read everything before you sign. This financial literacy tip was brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the main watch topic, fraud. How do women stack up? Our guests are Michael Diamond, attorney at law, and Dr. Leakim Semaj, transformation psychologist. Dr. Semaj, just before the break, you were outlining for us some of the situations or circumstances in which institutions, financial institutions in Jamaica, will attempt to address matters at the local level. And I gave an example in my situation, although it was not indicated that any staff member was implicated, but it was an example to me of how an institution was trying to address a situation that had arisen.
Let me share one other one with you. One side situation, there was a situation regarding a check and the amount and so on and how what has gone through my account. But then when I looked at my company checkbook, we hadn't reached that check number yet.
Yes.
And that number was still in my possession.
Yes.
So it means that whatever it is that did that, had some serious connections.
They would have known that the check leaf was assigned to your business.
Yes. And with all the right, numbers on it and so on. So these things are happening. But what for me, the major concern I have about all of this and what is the wake-up call that this should provide. And if you notice that we hear some rumblings about women because of the most recent cases. But that to me is not the main story. The main story is that, look, on some level, we have given, if you notice in Jamaica, cashiers are usually men or women.
Usually female, yes.
Exactly. We have this implied, no man, the woman, they're the one, they can watch the money and so on. But you're seeing some other things now. So you really need to put things in place first at the hiring level. And that's where I promote. I offer psychometric assessment to look at integrity. And a number of institutions have been using them. And then all the other checks and balances are now required for everybody at every level of the system to make sure that, you understand that, say, you want to trust, but verify.
As you mentioned the matter of trust, Dr. Semaj, do you think that in the media or in the wider society, we treat women differently from men in terms of how we perceive them. You kind of alluded to it. Do we treat women unfairly or men unfairly as it relates to how we think they will handle finances and whether they'd be implicated in fraud? Do we think that, are we treating the women unfairly in any way or the men unfairly in any way?
I think the more unfairly treated are usually men. We think the worst of men, and because if it, again look 90% of prison population in almost every society are men. Men commit more crime in general, so they're. But one interesting contrast now, for the last how many years, over 80% of the new lawyers graduating at UWI are women, so that kind of shift is taking place even in that level. But the men are the major perpetrators of crime. We assume that, we believe that, and we act on that notion. And because emotions generate feelings, and feelings impact thinking. So that the kind of emotional connection you have with a woman, that's why women makes one of the best, pardon the expression, con men. Right? Because the images that can be created and so on, and many men have been taken in that direction. So we're becoming more gender neutral, and we've also, there are two things, that anything a man can do, a woman can do. But you heard the line from the song that says, girls, you can't be a lady, behaving in a particular manner.
Yeah.
So we give them the blind, but for me, this is time now that we really need to deal with it on an even keel in terms of using the appropriate data, the appropriate prevention, and whoever it is, let the law take its course.
Whether male or female, Michael Diamond, any comments, sir? Because Dr. Samaj has really said a mouthful.
Interestingly enough, as Samaj said this a few years ago, there certainly would have been an uproar, and this is really not a new conversation. And back in the 70s, this is a situation that came up as well, where that attention was now being given to the fact that women are committing certain crimes as well, which would have been underreported or not reported at all. And there was an uproar from the feminist movement regarding that because of how that conversation was structured. One very popular work was by a psychologist named Frida Alder. And Frida Alder wrote this very, very touching body of work called Sisters in Crime. The rise of the new female criminal. That has created this, that really brought the discussion to the forefront, where we were now looking at how women, their role in crime, especially white collar crime. Now, one of the things that we also have to recognize is that here in Jamaica, the way the media treats females that are the subject of scrutiny, especially where crime is concerned, is really different than how it treats males in the same positions. Because if we go back to some of the archived news articles and we'll see where females were the accused, the coverage really extended beyond what was being reported. Because when we think of how many other males have been charged in similar situations, yet that story died out in, as they say, the 9-day wonder. But yet still, we're still carrying stories now, currently, from the recent females that have been the subject of these things. Now, as Dr. Saman says, and as the data says, and even back in the 1970s, once females got into a certain space, they also had the same exposure as males. And so, yes, they would also be subject to the same ills and started committing the same types of crimes. So one of the things that they finally resolved on is that it's really not a matter of gender, but also a matter of just opportunity. So when we come down to addressing this situation, we have to be very careful that we don't just, we don't want it to be too gender specific, but we have to be to the fact that individuals lacking morals and certain standards will operate in the same way, regardless if they're males or females. But one of the things that we have to be mindful of is the treatment of these situations, especially in media. There is nothing wrong, per se, with the financial institution attempting to stem an issue internally due to the fact that the impact is not just the financial loss, but a breach of consumer confidence that can occur if it is reported improperly. And I say improperly because oftentimes, for basically sensationalism, a media can report on a matter, but exclude important information regarding the fact that the breach was subject to a particular area and that the consumers and the account holders are fully protected going forward. Because again, our economic system, our financial system is based upon people having confidence in the currency and in the institutions that hold these currencies. So there's a broader picture. There's a damage to the reputation of the financial market once we focus on when we focus on certain things and forget the fact that what is the implications and the impressions that we're leaving? Because again, we're not dealing with real currency, we're dealing with the individual's perception of the currency. So how the institutions treat situations, we have to give credos actually, because these new occurrences that has been reported is because of more auditing taking place, access to information also taking place where consumers can readily access and check their accounts. So we're seeing now that this information technology is giving consumers that opportunity to safeguard their finances and be able to readily report any type of discrepancies or irregularities that are occurring, and the institutions are clearly acting upon that. So, we do have to give credit where credit is concerned.
You Mr. Diamond, you said something very interesting, and I'm trying to unravel it, because you mentioned how women might be treated in the media when these things are reported. Well, when they are in the public domain, because I find that when women commit or have been alleged to commit financial crimes, the media coverage will say that there's one news report I remember some time ago. It mentioned that the money was misappropriated. I'm paraphrasing. Was misappropriated in order so that she could pay her tuition fees. Almost indicating that it was one of those hard cases. Where you can understand. You can't really understand, but there's a reason that you can sympathize with. And in the more recent scenario, involving Stocks and Securities Limited, mention was made of a family member who was ill. Again, a story you could sympathize with, not excusing what was done. When it comes to men, you don't really hear those things. You just hear that the man stole the money. So,
yes, you will certainly hear that, and a lot of times, as we have to recognize, is that a lot of the criminology and the science of crime really focus mostly on males in the early age, and that is legitimate. Now, a lot of times
I'm just saying that the man might have had a so-called hard luck story, but we don't hear that part. We just hear that he stole the money.
It might be far and few, because a lot of times the kind of white-collar crime committed by males is mostly predicated on greed.
So the woman wasn't greedy, but the man was greedy. You see what I'm saying?
But here's the thing, as Dr. Samaj alluded to, the feelings and emotions are clearly different when it comes down to male and female. But while a man may steal because of greed, that female may steal because of the opportunity and also those barriers that exist.
So the women are never greedy. Dr. Samaj, women are never greedy.
There's a corollary to that, in terms of the international literature. Yes. One of the categories for female white-collar crime they document is being in a toxic relationship and need to get out at all costs. So she's in a relationship and she's trapped, and she really need to get out. So the reason why the money was stolen is to finance her escape, to get out of the marriage, but the plan was to put it back when she get out.
So almost suggesting it's the man's fault.
Absolutely, that's the kind of thing.
Absolutely,
that's part of what the literature has been saying.
Interesting.
But it's important for us to take a look at this whole thing now and put system in place that people are people and the same kind of motives and the opportunity. and circumstances, what do we put in place to reduce it? What
Same
do
kind
we
of motive, but not including greed, doctor.
Well, it is also said that when a man have access to money,
yes,
he uses it to floss and to
show
take care of women.
Yes,
But
yes, yes.
what is alluded, when a woman have access to money, she takes care of her family and her
Yes.
children with it.
So he takes care of the woman, but the women take care of their family. We have to leave it there today because we're totally out of time. Dr. Savage and Mr. Diamond, thank you for your time.
Yeah, man, thank
Sirs,
you for
we'll be
having me.
right back on the Morning Watch. Very interesting.
J&B Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by J&B Bank Small Business Loans is
7:30 and a half.
J&B Bank Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality.
Family growing?
Yeah, time to make a move. Turn down the music, man.
Need your own space?
Time to make a move.
Make your move with a mortgage from Sagicor Bank. Get an affordable interest rate, discount on home insurance, plus a $2 million line of credit that you can use to fix up, furnish, or add your own personal touch. Apply for your mortgage from Sagicor Bank and make your move. Conditions apply.
The Word, Light and Power Victory Ministry invites you to our annual Victory March service in Penline Castle District, St. Thomas on February 26, 2023. We invite residents from Ness Castle, Mavis Bank, Tower Hill, Westphalia, Mount Lebanon, and adjoining communities to be a part of a mighty move of God. Come and hear victory testimonies. Come with your praise and requests. Hear the word from the anointed man of God. With special guests, Reverend Gotti and Sister Nikki. For further information, please call 876-425-9222.
Colgate Triple Action. 3 benefits for a deep clean. As a mother, you always want to give the best to your family and to make them happy. With Colgate Triple Action, you give them 3 reasons to smile. Cavity protection, whiter teeth, and fresh breath. A unique formula with a minty flavor they will love. Colgate Triple Action. Find it at your favorite store.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look now at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. And we turn firstly to, whilst the internet takes its sweet time to show us the news links, we have Loop Jamaica News. Clark to table 2023-2024 budget today. Financial analyst Dennis Chung not expecting new taxes. We also we now have the Observer, quite a number of stories. Among them, we have fatal mystery. Police firefighters work to uncover puzzle of woman, child who perished in fire. That story obviously of great concern to many persons. We are having a little bit of a challenge looking at the stories in the Gleaner online. For some reason, the link is giving a challenge to load. We will make another attempt. In the interim, RGD chaos. Staff sick out leads to disorder outside Twickenham Park office. RGD chaos. Staff sick out leads to disorder outside Twickenham Park office. It is understood that the staff ought to be going back to work. Let us see how that goes. And I may have to look at another story from another news source because for some reason, we are not seeing for some reason, I am not able to see the Gleaner online upload. So the Observer, again, another story of interest, although further afield. Gunmen storm hospital of newborn saved from quake in Syria. Gunmen storm hospital of newborn saved from quake in Syria. Those and many other stories in our various news sources. We do regret that I have not been able to download the stories from the Gleaner today. For whatever reason, that link is not operational at the moment. Of course, coming up next, we'll read for some of the feedback from our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, what are your thoughts on the seeming increase in the number of women being accused of white-collar crimes? If you haven't done so yet, leave your responses in our Facebook or YouTube, Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes too. 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. And of course, we would like a number of our women, or many more of our women than who normally comment, to make comments during this segment, where you can send in your feedback to our social media channels. Please do so. The Morning Watch will be right back.
Hey, small people, listen up. Join us weekdays, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. for the Small People Show with Auntie Colleen. Yes, every day we have something educational and fun for you to enjoy. Plus, on a fifth Friday, you get a chance to hail up your friends and community, order something to eat, and you could win a prize too. That's the Small People Show, where we aim to build characters and empower our small people for the future. Remember to tell a friend and stay for the fun. It's the Small People Show with Auntie Colleen on the family station, Love 101.
Miss B, how you doing? Oh, hi there, Lizzie. We're good, you know. How the app going?
Why, Miss B, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I have been enjoying the app from them time there, but I tried to get a friend of mine to download the app, and she says she can't find it.
Oh, Lord, Lizzie, it look like the Love app missing from the Google Play Store, you know. And the one them have on there is the same name, but it's not the real Love FM app.
True. It's a different color app me see when my friend show me. So how the new people with Android are gonna find Love now? What me fi tell my friend?
Well, I hear Love FM, the real Love FM, is working on getting that sorted out. But until then, anybody with an Android can still listen Love 101 on the website, www.love101.org. You know, having the real, genuine Love 101 FM app with the red logo has a lot of advantage, because if you miss a program, you can simply rewind and listen back. And enough more things on the genuine, authentic Love 101 FM app with the red logo.
Boy, me hope them fix it soon. And like you who have your Apple phone, enough people have Android.
Me know. So let's tell everybody so them know what clock a strike.
If you already have the Love FM app on your Android device, you may still use it. However, for our listeners who are wanting to download the app on your Android device, simply listen via our website at love101.org.
Persons downloading on Apple devices will find the Love 101 FM app. Thank you for making it Love 101, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's join Jukal for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. And that question is, what are your thoughts on the seeming increase in the number of women being accused of white-collar crimes? Jukal.
All right, so we do have a few responses here. This one is by Kevin Galloway. He says it is a great concern for years as the love of money has grown cold. Seek the Lord while these including I may be found. Call upon these few Jews inwardly. Peace be upon Israel. So that is his response here. Steph from Portmore says, "Good morning. It's girls can't do what the boys do and still be a lady." She's saying all must be treated equally. And all right, so I can't read all of that, but let's just leave it right there. Sister Matilda also sent a voice note. So let's hear what she is saying.
Good morning. It seems that women are the weaker vessels when it comes to temptation, really so. That's why the devil went to Eve and did not go to Adam.
And that was the response from Sister Matilda. So there's more, but because of time, I have to leave it right there.
Very interesting, Jukal. Thank you very much for sharing those comments from our listeners. And of course, moving right into the second watch, too often we hear of negative behaviors being displayed by students and teachers in our schools across the length and breadth of the island. But one corporate area school is setting out to support physical, mental, and overall well-being of staff and students. The Arden High School, with its alumni foundation, symbolically broke ground for their Health and Wellness Center, which is projected to cost approximately $60 million. How will such a center accomplish this task of fostering healthy minds and bodies that equal well-being and academic achievement? Our guests are Troy Blake, guidance counselor of the school, Arden High School, and Flo Darby, chairman of the Arden Alumni Foundation. Flo Darby, Troy Blake, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Flo Darby. Do we have Flo Darby as yet? Maybe not. We will see if we can have her on in a moment if she's not yet with us. Mr. Blake, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Why?
Listeners as well.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate your greeting them too, sir. Now, you're the guidance counselor of the school. Why such a center?
One of the guidance counselors there at Arden High School, yes.
One of. Forgive me. One of. Why such a center?
Say again?
Why such a center?
Well, we believe here at Arden High School in addressing human beings from a holistic point of view, perspective. We understand and believe as a Christian school that human beings are body, soul, and spirit. Right? And this, of course, fits into the religious thought or perspective on wellness. Of course, you do have the secular view, which speaks to man's physical state, man's emotional and mental state, as well as man's social state, right? And so if you look at that, just by that in itself, one will recognize that you will definitely need something that's going to address all three states of man.
Interesting.
Yes, sir. And I have a lot more I can say about that too.
Since you brought up the matter of wellness and wellness of the spirit, will there be a prayer room?
Well, look, I believe that Arden itself is a prayer room. Inside this center, there are several areas that one can carry out such activities. Of course, Ms. Darby will speak to this better than I can, right? But I am aware of the fact that the offices are going to be separate from the counseling centers, as it were. I have not heard of a specific area, as in a prayer room. But once again, I will allow Ms. Darby to address that issue.
Well, she's on the line now. Before we head to the break, Flo Darby, good morning. Will there be a prayer room?
Good morning. Well, you know, I think the Arden has so many prayer rooms, if you may call it.
A prayer room in the wellness center that you're going to build.
We don't have a prayer room. We don't have a prayer room, but we have
hold that thought, Flo Darby, because we are already up on a break. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back at the Morning Watch.
Paying taxes? Use your Sagicor Bank business credit card and get a 1 month payment holiday. Conditions apply. The time by Sagicor Bank is
7:45 and a half.
Magic sparkling non-alcoholic wine, guaranteed to have a good time.
White grape, red grape, strawberry, peach. Any celebration, the buckle up reach. Pink and blue magic, papa baby shower. Mixed fruit, pineapple, coconut, good for you every hour. I'll be Jamaican sorry. Mix our straight, everybody can manage.
Make magical moments with Magic Sparkling.
The February 5-off-50 sales event at Home and Things is here. Take $5 off every $50 you spend. Save big on the brands you know and trust, from beautiful Spanish and Brazilian tiles to exquisite bathroom fixtures and faucets from Corona, Moen, and other top brands. Check out stylish doors, windows, paints, and home decor that inspire beauty and elegance. It's the February 5-off-50 sales event happening now. Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch, and the topic in this second watch is healthy minds and bodies equal well-being and academic achievement. We have as our guests Troy Blake and Flo Darby. Troy Blake is a guidance counselor at Arden High School, and Flo Darby, chairman of the Arden Alumni Foundation. So, Chairman Flo Darby, you're indicating to us that there is no prayer room at the Wellness Center to be built. Tell us a little bit more about the Wellness Center, however, and what are going to be the facilities in this center.
Well, let me first address the whole idea of prayer. We do have a gazebo on campus, which was built by one of our past students for the purpose of meditation and prayer. So it's right at the front of the school compound, and offers opportunity for us to do that. In addition, we have prayer every day and every morning, and we have mornings of prayer where the church comes in and prays with our students, and the usual morning prayer that most schools in Jamaica have. So at the Wellness Center, I was telling you before the break that we plan to have some gardens where people can go and meditate, pray, relax, all sorts of good things.
Now, okay, so when you speak about wellness and health, what exactly was envisioned? What was the idea? Because it doesn't seem to mean religious wellness or health. We're speaking more about physical wellness and physical health. But then you also mentioned meditation and prayer around the garden. So what was the idea behind having the center?
can I address the first question that
Sure, go ahead.
You said that something about religious, not the center not having a religious, something to that effect, flavor and so on. But as guidance counselor Blake had explained, we believe that it's all intertwined, that it's biblical, that we take care of every aspect of life, the wholeness. So for Arden, I went to Arden a long time ago, and it was always the belief that we should take care of the entire person. And
Right.
so,
So how do you define a healthy mind and body, and how do they contribute to the well-being to include academic achievement? How do you define that?
well, sometimes people don't have healthy bodies and they do have healthy minds. So
Yeah.
we're not saying that that you have to have all of them together. We have students who are physically challenged; they are not well, but they have healthy minds and they have to learn. So
Yeah.
we want to provide, part of why we're doing the wellness center is because we recognize the need for the school to go the extra mile to provide where the government or the curriculum does not ask us to. For example, when we think about having a psychologist or a psychiatrist, when we think about having a room for that purpose, that's not one of the things that we are asked to do as educators. But because we believe that there is a place for these professionals among our children and that the need exists, I am sure that you notice that in Jamaica there's a lot of times when we think that there is help that is needed outside of the classroom. And we want to cater to those needs. We want to make sure that instead of expelling our students when they go wrong, that we find a way to reform them and to help them and to make them better citizens.
That sounds like another discussion. Now you're saying, so are you saying that expulsion is not something that should be on the table at all?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
You said instead of without qualifying it.
I am not a professional psychiatrist nor psychologist.
Yes,
but I happen to know that there are students that need help, and the help that they need, as much as we can provide it. Some of them need, it's all kinds of help that they need. Sometimes it's just physical, maybe it's just food, and maybe it's just a hug. But there are others, and so we want to be in a place where we can do the best we can.
Well, the staff might have some constraints as it relates to hugging students. I don't know. But Mr. Blake, what is the reaction of staff, students, and parents and the wider community where the school is situated to this center to be built? What is the reaction of?
I believe that there is wholesale acceptance of it. I believe that is a wonderful initiative. Right? I believe that persons stand to gain a whole lot from this. I'd like to point out something, that health is a state of being free from illness or injury. However, that wellness is an act. It's a deliberate act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis with a view to attaining better physical and mental health outcomes. And so it involves the whole thing about eating correct meals or healthy meals, as you put it, and also having eaten those foods, giving your body an opportunity to get rid of the calories through exercising. And so visiting your doctor on a regular basis. And the benefits we get from that is that we see children learning better.
Will there be exercise rooms in the wellness center? Will there be exercise rooms in the wellness center?
I definitely heard something being mentioned about a gym being put in at a later date and all of that, right? But even walking around, simple exercise such as walking around and allowing yourself to just look at the greenery that is outside, you will also know that there's a link.
Will it have something like an atrium? Will it have something like an atrium where you have this you have this garden setting?
Yes, there is actually. I believe it was referred to as a loft area.
I see.
Also,
I see.
where
I see.
persons can go sit and look at the blue sky. We can't discount the fact that looking at the blue sky and looking at green actually calms persons.
So apart from a future gym and the place there where you can look at nature, what other specific facilities will be in the center?
There will also be a nurse there as well. There's a nurse facility there as well.
Okay.
We can speak even more to this.
All right. And any other facilities that you're aware of, sir? That will be in the center itself.
Well, like I said, there will be offices for the guidance counselors.
Okay,
I understand that there will be also for the nurses, as I mentioned before.
Yes.
There's an area for staff to launch, staff and students to launch, right? Just to come by, maybe sit, meditate, study. There are quiet areas. I understand that there will be rooms as well for alumni persons passing through who is willing to maybe train persons in different areas,
Understood.
as well as to just mentor, providing mentorship training.
Well, I did see reference to allowing for guidance counselors to use the facilities as opposed to and so forth. Now, I keep hearing the word meditation, and I tend to look down the road because we live in a world now where you have diverse faiths. Now, if a student or a staff member were to, for example, say, remember this is a Christian school, suppose one of them were to say that they would like to use one of the rooms to do some sort of new age practice, which is not Christian. How do you think that would be viewed? How would it be treated with? How would it be managed? Mr. Blake?
Look, once again, let me say this. This is a Christian school, but one of the things that we have always recognized is the need for individuals to practice, their rights. Now, as I believe that as long as what is being done is not contravening the rules and the laws of the school, and I'm not speaking for the school, this is my personal view, I don't see the person getting into any problems or any difficulties, as it were.
Okay, and on the other hand, if they want to use a room in the school, if a student wants to use a room in the school to have a prayer meeting or even a deliverance session to drive out demons, for argument's sake, how will that be viewed?
May I just come in here?
Well, before you come in, Mr. Darby, since he's a guidance counselor, I'm just asking his opinion.
You know all the things that's happening inside of the wellness center, and I do. So the point I was going to make is that there is no room there for any religious practice.
So there will be no religious practices taking place there then?
At the school, Arden is a Christian.
No, not in the center. In the center.
Church of God in Jamaica, and our doctrines would govern a lot of what happens there.
Okay, so the center would be neutral in terms of religious practice. That's what you're indicating.
I'm explaining to you what the center will be. It is not a place for what you were suggesting. We have.
You mentioned meditation and prayer, though, where you can pray and meditate in the garden.
I'm saying okay.
Before we wrap, how is the center going to be funded and maintained, Miss Darby?
It's a alumni effort. We hope we have the principal and the school quite involved in this building of the center. The PTA, we hope that all stakeholders, the church, everyone will come, will help us to make this a reality. But it really is being pushed by the alumni of Arden.
And when will it be ready and operational? About when?
We have some hopes, but I wouldn't say them yet because we have not got our full permission from the parish council yet.
Understood. We wait to hear more from about the center, and I want to thank Mr. Blake and Mrs. Darby for being with us today. Mrs. Darby and Mr. Blake, thank you so much for your time, and we await further word on the center. Sounds like an excellent initiative. Thank you for your time and for your thoughts.
Thank you for having. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for our listeners for being with us today, and join us again tomorrow as we look at other topical and controversial issues. Of course, visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all Love 101 FM programs. Download our Love 101 app, and remember that we are the #1 gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer Kathy Gale and our guests. I am handing you back to Jukal. Stokeley Marshall handing it back to Love 101 FM with Jukal.
The JCF will leave no stone unturned